It seems like there are no more moderate voices in mainstream media, or not very many. And that's why a lot of people, such as myself, we go to YouTube for more moderate voices that actually represent our true feelings about a lot of topics. Prior to the panini, and I'm speaking in code because the algorithm, but prior to the panini, I used to be a big fan of TV shows like John Oliver, Trevor Noah, Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, The View. At that time, I felt like my political views aligned with those TV shows. But after the panini, I realized that those shows were really full of propaganda, and they have become so far left-leaning that it's actually become a problem.
I worry that some of the far left has become so negative in how they talk about the other parties.
Who are these far left people?
Last week you called white Republican women cockroaches.
I sure didn't.
Flashback.
But what's also surprising to me is the abortion issue. I read a poll just yesterday that white Republican suburban women are now going to vote Republican.
Why?
It's almost like roaches voting for Raid, right?
I think that's
they're voting.
No, it's insulting to the voter.
They're voting against their own self-interest.
In this clip, the women are discussing the midterm elections in the US, which at the time had not happened yet, but they were speculating and discussing where the votes were going to lie. And during this discussion, Sunny brings up abortion rights and the fact that she is surprised that white Republican women are voting Republican.
That's suspicious.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's weird.
I'm not sure why she's surprised that white Republican women would vote Republican. Like, isn't it a bit obvious that they would vote that way? But anyways, she says that voting Republican is voting against their own best interest, and she makes the analogy of white Republican women voting Republican is just like
roaches voting for Raid.
Raid? Hey, I'll change, I promise.
Yeah, right.
Raid!
First of all, let's start with the obvious. That is offensive. And the thing about it is, we know that if there was a Republican who got on TV and they equated black women voting Democrat as roaches voting for Raid, Sunny Hostin would not have it.
Go ahead
Which
and
my
respond.
mother's a white woman, so
Go
I
ahead
wouldn't
and
say
respond.
that.
Go ahead.
I used to be a huge fan of The View. I was a huge fan of Sunny Hostin. She has never, ever, 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 ever referred to her as a Caucasian woman. She's always said that her mother, Rosa Beza, is Puerto Rican. I actually have a quote from Sunny Hostin speaking about her heritage and her mother and grandmother. My mother's mother was born in Puerto Rico. She is what we in Puerto Rico call Taino. She was a native there, indigenous to Puerto Rico, so sort of an Indian Puerto Rican. My mother's father is a sporadic Jew, so Jewish, but from Spain. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Sunny's mother aside, I have a big issue with this. Aside from the fact that she is misrepresenting her mother's ethnicity and using it as justification for what she said, I have a bigger issue with this. Sunny says these women are voting against their own best interests because the Republicans are actively rolling back access to abortion, meaning Republicans are pro-life. Sunny herself said she is against abortion because of her Catholic faith and because, in her opinion, it is morally wrong under any circumstances. She has said that in the event of incest, she is against it. In the event of rape, in the event that it is going to result in the death of the woman, she is 100% against abortion for her. But she wants other people to be able to have abortions. She says that her Catholic faith should not be imposed onto other people, so they should be allowed to have abortions. Okay, Sunny. So that means that you're pro-choice.
Sunny, are you pro-choice? Because you can be pro-life and pro-choice.
I don't think they're mutually exclusive. The government shouldn't tell women what they can do with
so
their
you're
body.
pro-choice?
No.
So what the f is it, Sunny? Sunny is full of contradictions. Sunny is so strong in her faith that she is against abortion. Yet, she is criticizing these women for voting Republican who are also against abortion. How does she know that these women are not Catholic just like her? And they are voting Republican because they are so strong in their own faith and their own beliefs that they do not want to support the Democrats because they do not want women to have access to abortions. How does she not know that these women are voting for the same moral reasons that she is against abortion? Irregardless of how she's voting, that's the belief system that she holds, and these women could very well hold the same beliefs as her, but yet she's criticizing them for having it because they're on the right. That's the issue that I have with mainstream media these days. If this is a core belief held by these women, it is truly puzzling to me why Sunny is so aggressively criticizing them. Sunny will never publicly admit that she's pro-life because she works for a left-leaning media organization that pays her big money so she can take care of her chickens. But the biggest thing, Sunny will not allow anyone to label her pro-choice because deep down, she isn't. Technically, by her own logic, she is going against her own best interest by voting Democrat, because she is voting for women to have access to abortion, and by proxy, she is essentially voting for some woman somewhere to eventually have an abortion. So technically, she's voting against her own best interest, but criticizing these women who very well could have the same religious belief that she has. The math ain't mathin'. The whole thing is full of contradictions. The whole thing is dumb. Personally, I am pro-choice. And I would never criticize someone who is pro-life because I understand how personal that is, how nuanced the situation is. I just wouldn't criticize somebody for it. We are all entitled to our own beliefs. But I do not respect the fact that Sunny will not be honest about her true belief system and the fact that she's criticizing people who have the same beliefs as her. I just find it so annoying that the far left, the far extreme left, has become so cultish, so toxic that Sunny won't even admit that she is pro-life. This is like literally the definition of gaslighting. Like what she's doing by not saying that she's pro-life, but insinuating that she's pro-life, but not saying it, and they're calling you crazy for being pro-life, all the Republican women. Like this is gaslighting. She's gaslighting the Republican women. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts and opinions? If you are a new subscriber or a new viewer, welcome to my channel. If you are a returning viewer, hi, how are you? Nice to see you again. If you have video topics that you would like me to cover, please comment them down below. I'm looking for suggestions. I'm growing this channel and I'm open to discuss whatever, almost whatever. Almost whatever. Just there's limits to YouTube, but open to discuss a lot of things. Please comment them down below. Please comment your thoughts and opinions of Sunny Hostin flip-flopping, and I'll see you guys in the next one.